The WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, a really raw, a villain raw. It's Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service.
How about if you sweep it out?
What's the point? I can't do anything right.
You'll do fine.
Hey pal, you just blowing from stupid town?
Keep trying.
Yeah, I did, because not only did I get this game completely wrong and absolutely just went the wrong way on us, but also I am now watching Utah State, who had a chance to go down and cover the spread, and now immediately turn the ball over, give up a big run, and now they're about to blow the cover yet again. So very, very, very good here. Nothing's going right now. Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
How about if you sweep it out?
What's the point? I can't do anything right.
You'll do fine.
Hey pal, you just blowing from stupid town?
So I had probably the freest lock and dog winners imaginable until the Liberty'd in the final 6 minutes of regulation, because I had a Liberty halftime full-time as my lock, which was cruising early in the game. I had Thebich 2+3s and the Liberty to win, and she made 2 threes in the first quarter. So I needed the
not
Liberty.
just first quarter, first 2 minutes.
First 2 minutes, she made 2 threes. So I was once again absolutely cruising to a sweep. And then Brundello'd, and you saw the Liberty fall apart. I mean, you can talk about besides just WNBA, but in basketball, just in general, that's one of the worst choke jobs I've ever seen in my entire life. I know that you can make an argument that there have been worse ones out there. The most underrated
15
one.
in 5 minutes is crazy. Like, it was 15-point lead with 5 minutes to go.
15 in 5 minutes. They were up by double digits twice in the game, like by basically 15 plus, and they choked it away both times. I'm trying to think of choke jobs that were worse. Northern Iowa against Texas A&M in the NCAA tournament is probably the all-timer. But
the Knicks and the Nets, when James Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant were all not playing, Cam Thomas led them. I think it was a 24-point
I remember that
comeback. Yeah, that was a pretty bad one. I'm just trying to think on like a large scale.
Stakes, though, for the finals, that's one of the worst losses I've probably seen in basketball. You have the Memphis one against Kansas in the NCAA title game. Derrick Rose missed free throws. Like, there were a couple of them in college because single game elimination, but it was rough. It's
J.R. Smith, it's a couple.
Well, that one was a tie game. Yeah, that still went to overtime, but still. I get more mad at George Hill for not making the free throw. Point is, for the sake of the actual game itself, there were so many different choke jobs, and you could point to many different people for the Liberty. You have Sandy, who went into basically a prevent defense with 6 minutes to go in regulation, and that's kind of what happened. I don't want to compare it to like Shanahan in the fourth quarter.
No, that's literally what happened. They milked the clock on offense, didn't do anything, and then so if you're gonna milk the clock, you could at least score. They wouldn't score, then it would just go back on the other end, and Minnesota's just chip. And so look at this, 5 minutes. We got a couple of seconds to go, and Courtney Williams makes an amazing 3-point shot. That was an amazing play, but it should have never came down to that. And then The refs do everything in their power to put you back in position to win the game. And Breanna Stewart, you missed the free throw? No way.
Well, there were two. There were
That
the
was
refs.
it was so
Yeah.
many, it was so many pieces to the end of that game, but all of that doesn't matter if you just take this team serious and put them away. There's no reason to get lackadaisical about this. Like, they just put them away. Go win by 20. Why are you not comfortable winning by 20? Why are you just killing clock? Why are you not comfortable it is the finals. It is the finals. Why are you not comfortable killing a team? There's no reason they shouldn't have put the foot on their neck and just completely rang life out of the Lynx in that game, but they just let them back in the game for no reason. That was horrible. That was one of the worst collapses I've ever seen.
Yeah, so there were a couple of takeaways from that, besides the fact that Sandy once again put her team in a serious prevent defense and it completely imploded. She's an atrocious coach. I don't care what anybody says. I've been roasting her for about 2 years. She's terrible. Anyway, besides that, you have Breanna, who is a 2-time MVP, and she not only bricks the second free throw, or you could argue went in and out, whatever. You're a 2-time MVP. They gifted you a shot to win the game anyway, and you brick the second free throw. Then on top of that, you completely smoke the layup at the end of overtime, which could have sent the game to double overtime. So the game was crazy. Shout out to Courtney Williams. Shout out to Collier. The best players from Minnesota showed up when it mattered. I'm not going to dismiss what Minnesota did. They fought. They could have packed it in. Reeves could have benched her players if she wanted to. Nobody would have really blinked an eye if she benched everybody down 16 with about 5 minutes to go. Courtney hits the 4-point play, which is crazy. Then you ended up seeing the Liberty once again have a couple chances. The refs were atrocious. I don't know how you're in the final minute of a finals game and you can't tell me who the ball went off of. It clearly went off Stewie's foot, by the way. Wasn't even close. It clearly went off Stewie's foot, and they couldn't review it. So they call a jump ball. Then Courtney Williams decides, questionably, to intentionally take a violation to set up the defense for Minnesota. But I thought it was clearly off Stewie. It should have been Minnesota's ball. Then you have a couple of possessions where the Liberty do nothing. Ball gets blocked out of bounds. Then Stewie gets fouled with like 0.5 on the clock, 0.8 on the clock, and she clanks the second free throw. And then you have an absolute just shit show because the Liberty turned the ball over about 3 or 4 times on their first 3 overtime possessions, which was ridiculous. Then Minnesota that they were going to dominate. Then John Quell got a steal at half court, hit a layup, and suddenly the game's competitive again. And then you saw Collier make the big shot at the end. So Minnesota had a golden opportunity to steal game 1 when the Liberty handed it to them, and Minnesota came out and they got the job done. Minnesota played a very solid game for the final 10 minutes, and that's all they needed. But the Liberty came out, punched them in the mouth. They were up double digits twice in that game. We had a very good read in general. I thought that we called the game correctly based on the start of it. And the Liberty were dominating the boards. They dominated. They won by
They did everything so that we didn't win that
They did everything that we thought they would do, except stop playing basketball for the last basically 10, 11 minutes of the game, including overtime.
I mean, not even just that. Not even just that. They lost every single quarter, including the 5 minutes of overtime after the first quarter. Every single part. They got like that game was horrible. That game was absolutely horrible. And it was a slow death. It was a slow death by 1,000 cuts.
It was. And once again, none of this happens if Stewie makes a free throw. But I do want to point out the stats here because Minnesota shot over 50% from the floor, over 40% from 3. The Liberty shot 37.8% from the floor, and the game still went to overtime. Big reason, the Liberty had 12 more rebounds. So the rebounding I thought would be a factor. John Quell was great in the game. She had a big 3 also late in that game to at least kind of stop the bleeding for a bit. But yeah, the Liberty got scared. And I know Breanna's won a championship. I know that she's been successful everywhere she's been. She's a multiple-time MVP winner. She choked. It was pretty rough watching her in, once again, with the free throws in the last second of regulation. That free throw at the layup at the end wasn't even close. That hit the backboard, went over the rim. If you're a top 3 player in the league and you're a multiple-time MVP, you can't have yourself a Chris Webber moment. You got to show up in these spots. That was atrocious by Stewie. Yes, Ionescu shot the ball terribly. In her defense, nobody else was willing to actually do anything. So a lot of those were end of shot clock prayers because the team stopped playing offense. So I'm not going to be as harsh on Brian. I'm not going to be as harsh on Ionescu as I could. But I thought that she was put in a lot of grenade situations where nobody did anything. They weren't running any sets. And they said, Ionescu, chuck up the ball with 3 seconds left on the shot clock. So I'm not going to be too mad at Sabrina. She made a couple shots in overtime. It was mostly Stewie, who's viewed as being the best player in the league, defending MVP, and she shrunk in a big spot. But it was mostly coaching. I thought that Sandy was awful. We mentioned it in the breakdown. And yeah, Sandy just completely choked away a game. That's it. Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Okay.
I hate what I'm gonna end up doing by the end of the show.
It's such a weird game though, because once
I
again,
hate what I'm about to do.
I was a final 5 minutes, so I was final like one free throw away from sweeping my lock and dog picks. Like I thought I had a good read on the game. I thought I did. It just didn't matter because the Liberty just fell apart. It's an all-time.
They did everything humanly possible not to win that game.
Like, yeah, pretty much
everything they possibly could have did wrong. They did wrong, and I don't know. It's kind of hard to replicate. It's like that was so bad that it's kind of hard to replicate something that bad again. But Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR. Hey, look, you can do all of that. You can get specials. I know I just got a nice 30% boost up to $1,000 earlier today. Got to use that. Make sure you sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code NBA SGPN. Hey, don't undermine how quickly WNBA teams will move along from coaches. Teresa Weatherspoon got fired this year. Stephanie White is expected not to come back to the Connecticut Sun next year, and they're going to be looking for another coach.
I'm not blaming her. They're using her as a scapegoat as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I thought she did a decent job with the Sun.
But Stephanie White, I think that there's talks about. I think there's going to be a bidding war between Chicago and Indiana. But I mean, they still have what's her name, Side, still at Indiana. Like they have to officially let her go right now. She's still the coach. But I've seen speculation that they want Stephanie White in Chicago or Indiana. But Chicago's gonna have to pay some serious money.
To address that question though, for the Liberty, I think a lot of it might come down to like how they lose this series.
No, it's not. It's yes.
I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes, but if they lose in like a very competitive one possession game 5, maybe she keeps it.
She still gets fired.
In reality,
she should get fired.
I would have fired her after last year. I mean, you think of all the people that were injured on the Aces, with Chelsea Gray being injured, they're completely shorthanded. You're at home and you blow game 4. I would have fired her on the spot. Now, for this game, if you could fire coaches mid-series, I would do it, but you're not going to fire, obviously. I think she's a terrible coach. I've been on the show on the record for over a year saying I don't think she can coach. And I feel like she's been gifted a phenomenal roster, and she doesn't actually make the team that much better. And I think I'm right. And I feel like nothing has proven me wrong on that. Thebich fell into their laps. She's a phenomenal rookie, which is crazy how good she is. And I don't think that Sandy has a grasp on what to actually do down the stretch of games. It's why I was scared of the Aces series. It's why I thought the Aces would beat them. I was wrong, but my argument was in close late game situations, I thought that Becky Hammon would outcoach Sandy, and I thought she would choke a game away. Almost happened in game 2. They held on and won, but the framework was there for a choke job. And we saw it because Cheryl Reeves is a top 2 coach in the league, and she won Coach of the Year for a reason. She's great. They made adjustments. They didn't quit. And we saw them dominate.
Championships.
I'm saying right now, just based on what she's done this year with this team.
Oh, yeah.
The Lynx are a great team. I get it. Reeves is a phenomenal coach. Phenomenal. So, yes, I think she should be fired. The question is, will they keep her? If they lose in a very close game 5, maybe they keep her, but in reality, she should be gone. With this talent, you can't lose in the finals 2 straight years.
This is now 8-2. Cheryl Reeve is against Sandy Brondello in the playoffs. Let's talk about it. Game 2 in New York. The New York Liberty down. Somehow, some way, they found themselves down in this series. Hey, and very, very, this is now, what is this? This is their 5th series or 6th series, one or the other. despite it doesn't matter. They've been down the first game in every single one. Every single one. The New York Liberty have not found a way to win the first game in the WNBA Finals. All right. Let's see here. Got the line of 7.5 for the New York Liberty. 162.5 is the total. I mean, the 7.5 is the, oh my gosh. It just it's so hard to lay 7.5, but it's like if there would be no shock in my mind if the Liberty just nutted up for a game and completely blew this team out of the water.
I mean,
But
they
how
did
can you
that. They did that
possibly?
for 3.5
Yeah,
quarters.
no, they only did it for one. They only did it for one. They only did it for one. They didn't do because they lost every single other quarter, like every single one. They lost it. This is ridiculous.
Well,
This is
correct, but they
absolutely
would have
ridiculous.
won the fourth quarter by a wide margin if they didn't choke it away again. So they were up 16 early, then they were up 16 again, and they fell apart. So sorry, but yes, they dominated heavily both halves and took their foot off the gas at the end of both halves. Is that fair?
Yeah, I really want to say that, but
Okay.
I need them to have one. They don't have the more points than the Minnesota Lynx in more than one quarter. Like this is ridiculous. And so yes, at different points, but basketball's a game of runs, and they just continue to let up runs. So
I mean, there are two ways to look at it. Either one, Minnesota is going to be so thrilled that they stole game one that mentally they're
your
just
house
not fully
money, you're
prepped for
playing
game
with
two.
house money. Like you're
Or
playing with house
B,
money.
the Liberty's loss lingers and they mentally have a block against this team because the Lynx have owned them this season. It gets mental, and maybe they even lose outright.
This is
There are
what
two
we
ways
do.
to look at it.
Liberty laying 2 in the first quarter.
Okay.
There's no way. There's no way. No. If they don't come out focused in the first quarter, pack the series in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pack it in. There's no way. If they do not come out focused in the first quarter, pack the series in. And I think that there is an intensity and going to be intensity from the Minnesota Lynx to not get down early like how they did in that first game, and there's an adjustment there. I don't think it's a blowout, but I feel confident in 2. And saying the Liberty, hey, it's a competitive quarter, the Liberty go up 5. And we get a competitive game after that. But they have to win another quarter. You're looking at the box score and you see it. You lost every aspect of the game after the first quarter, regardless of how good you did at one point in that quarter. By the time the quarter ended, they had more points than you. They have to tighten it up. So Liberty in the first quarter, I'm willing to lay the 2.
So I like that angle because with the crowd, they have to. This is a must-win game. You can't lose the first 2 games at home in a best of 5. Do
No.
want to point out, by the way, unrelated, shout out to the WNBA. Next year will be 4 out of 7 for the finals. They announced an expansion. So this is
Hey,
the last year we're ever going to get 3 to 5.
you know who the cause of that?
You mean who's the actual cause or who people are
Because
gonna...
they changed the first round too. The first round's a
Yeah.
1, but that is ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous, and I think that they really, really did a disservice to the players on that because they changed that format without going back to East West. They
Yeah.
rushed it because of the whole we want to make sure everybody gets a home game now after we've been doing this for X amount of years and nobody said anything. But now imagine
Well, just to be
New
clear, that's a
York.
separate change. They changed it to 1-1-1. That's a separate thing. The finals, they added a couple extra games.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
2
still
different.
like they
Yeah,
changed the whole playoff
I
format.
forgot to
So
include that too, but they did
yeah,
change the
they
format of
changed
the
the
first
whole
round.
playoff format. And so the 1-1, imagine now getting a first round series between the Liberty and the Storm. And you have to go in one day between coasts, play a game, and then go back and
I mean,
play again.
the travel's not going to be great, but in reality, it's because they can actually afford charter now. Can we say that?
That's still not that's
No, but I'm
way
saying
too
that's why
much.
they made the move. It
They
was
got
just
they gotta spread out the games.
They do,
They
but I'm
gotta spread
saying
out the
they were
games.
cutting corners just monetarily speaking, and now they have a
Yeah.
little bit more in the bankroll that they can actually do it. So that's one format change. We're not going to have, if you steal one of the first 2 games, you get a home game 3. It's not happening. You're alternating now in the first round, but you also are looking at 4 to 7. in the future WNBA Finals, which I do like. Now, to get back to this game, I can't lay this with the Liberty. I can't do it. Everything that scared me about this team came back. It was like watching a repeat of last year's WNBA Finals game in Game 4 against the Aces, where they just looked like a deer in the headlights. They were terrified. They could not handle the idea of the stakes of the game. And a team like Minnesota, who had never been there for a decent amount of players on this roster, and they just showed up and said, oh, no, we're taking this, which I appreciate. But I'm assuming Utah State covered.
No. But we're first and goal. And we're
I saw
not saying
UNLV
anything.
didn't score, so I know that you are in decent shape now. But anyway, point is, for this game, if the Liberty lose, the series is over. They're not winning. I agree with you about the first quarter, but I can't trust Sandy. I think Sandy is an atrocious head coach. I've said this many times, and I even mentioned it in the pre-game, the pre-series show with the breakdown.
Time is not up. We wait till 0-0-0-0.
I trust Reeves to make enough adjustments to keep this game close. I like your angle of Liberty first quarter. I can't lay this 7.5. I can't do it. Now, the counterpoint for the Liberty is they shot once again roughly 13% worse than the Lynx, and they still went to overtime because they dominated the boards. And that is something that I think the Liberty can have success in. But the offense shuts down. Minnesota's offense is well-oiled. They're definitely a solid and just fluid offense. And I can't look past that. I'm taking the points. If you want my actual pick here, Lynx in 3, plus 630. I really like the plus 630 on FanDuel for the Lynx to sweep here. I do want to ask you, it's going to go two ways. Either the Liberty rise to the occasion, and the Liberty say, listen, we blew this game. We're not going to fully roll over and die like this after we lost to the Aces last year and we avenged it in the semis. Now we have a chance to do it. We're going to come out and win this game. Or you have a Nick Anderson situation where you're the Orlando Magic, you're favored in a series, you have a free throw that goes against you where your player chokes. So, of course, the Anderson one's an insane all-timer. But the point is you had a game you should have won, you blew it, and mentally you are absolutely fried, and you get swept. And I think that might happen here. I think that's a possibility. I think that Minnesota with Reeves will smell blood in the water. And I think even though this is a house money game, they know if they take this game, the Liberty's heart and soul are destroyed. I'm going Lynx. I think they got a shot to sweep the series. I think they do. I had Liberty in 5. The rebounds could definitely be there. And I agree with you that the Liberty have the makings of a team that can win this game handily. I can't trust them. I think they're mentally weak. And I think the Lynx proved in that last game, especially Courtney and Collier, they're not scared of anybody. And they shouldn't be because they're really, really good. Give me the Lynx plus the points.
This is where I feel like we differ because despite how that game ended, I'm not changing a handicap for the series just yet. I think this is a long series regardless because I think these are two teams that are just too talented on both sides.
We both agreed, though. We originally had Liberty in 5, so we thought it'd be a war no matter what.
Yeah, so I understand that while I thought it was highly unlikely, there was a chance that they could win game 1. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and do my best to not remember the way that they won it. I would have preferred it to just be the Lynx were just better that night and there's an adjustment to be made. But I don't think the Lynx were the better team. I think the Liberty just completely did everything possibly. Like they knew we bet on them and said, yeah, we're just going to make sure we waste their money.
If you just list out all the things they did wrong, you had the stalling on offense to stop playing. I don't know how you foul somebody on a 3-point shot in a 3-point game in the final 20 seconds. Then you somehow get gifted free throws and you choke away the free throws. Then you turn the ball over 3 times in the first minute and a half of overtime. They did everything they possibly could do to lose the game. It was actually insane how many errors they actually had.
And so with that, I just have to assume that this team that I know to be as good as I think they are is going to bounce back here. I'm pretty. And so I go back to the one win they have this season, 76-67. That's how I think this game ends. I think that they smother them on defense, control the glass, and do not there was a point in that game where it was frustrating. If you were a Minnesota Lynx fan or you bet on the Lynx, it was frustrating on how much they could not rebound the basketball.
Mhm.
Like, that is a very real issue for them in this series. Jonquel Jones was amazing. The fact that we have a Jonquel Jones and Courtney Williams MVP ticket in our pocket, by the way,
I
I
gotta
would love
pull
to
up the
see updated
odds.
odds. I would
I
love to see
yeah.
updated odds right now
I
on
want to say I forgot what we got on Courtney, but I was definitely north of 100 to 1.
125 to 1 if you bet pre-postseason.
Yeah. Okay. That was the line we had. I know I read it off in
100, yeah,
BetMGM. I forgot what the line
125 to
exactly
1.
was.
And then if you waited until you bet it before the series, I believe it was at, I can't remember because my memory is horrible and I'm trying to remember what that number was, but I know it was a 4. So it's either 64 or 84. It was
Okay.
one of the two. I
Point
don't
is, it was
remember
a
which one.
massive long shot either way.
I personally, I have a 100 to 1 ticket. I have a
Yeah.
100 to 1 ticket on Courtney Williams, and I have a 34 to 1 ticket on Jonquel Jones. So
We made good choices.
I think that Jonquel still has a very, very good game because they dominate on the glass. I still think Stewie still had 9 rebounds, even though she didn't catch 9.5 rebounds for me, which is really, really frustrating. She still had 9 rebounds. Very good cover by Utah State. Great backdoor cover.
Gutsy cover. They
Great
give 40
backdoor
points
cover.
they give up any points in the second half? They have what, one touchdown early in the second half,
And
that
it
was
was the 3 points at the that they gave up at the end, but
Yeah.
whew, very, very thank you very much. But yeah, man, I think that there's a clear path of how the Liberty win this game, and it's the fact of you stay consistent on defense because they played really, really well at times. You have to limit their runs. Like Sandy had dog, you have to limit their runs. If you limit the runs, play well on defense and rebound the basketball, don't give them opportunity. I don't think all those shots fall. Like a lot of those shots, I just don't think are going to fall again. You know, Courtney Williams was 0 for 4 until those 2 big threes, the one at the end of the game and the one in overtime.
Those were
Like
so
she was
pure
0 for
too.
4
I
before
don't think
that.
they hit the rim, those two. Those were so
Yeah,
pure.
0 for 4. Like
What a player.
and so yeah, I'm sticking with the Liberty. I know 7.5 looks disgusting, yo. Like the number looks very concerning, but this team beat them by 9 earlier this season in what was a contested game, and they just kind of pulled. It just kind of the end of the game was the end of the game, and they were able to pull away. That's
If
what I
you
think they
think the
do again.
Liberty get up for the spot mentally, if they just completely wipe game 1 off of their memory, then this is a great spot for the Liberty.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to linger because this team has a history of unraveling in the playoffs. I think it might linger. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
All right. We'll see it. Let's see. Yes, still.
I like
I'm
the
sitting on-
under in the game, by the way.
Is that an updated Sabrina Ionescu 12 to 1 MVP? Is that updated? Do you G Martinez? That's right now.
I got to
12 1.
imagine that's updated.
If she's 12 to 1, I'm going to go bet that. If she, yeah, I'm absolutely going to go bet that if she's 12 to 1 right now. All right. Total is sitting here at 162.5. Scott.
I'm on the under. I feel like I have to because the Liberty shot the ball terribly, which I don't think was a fluke. I think Minnesota's just a great defensive team, but I do think the Lynx shooting 50+% from the floor, and both teams shot north of 40% from 3. Like that's not happening. Like the game landed 168 in regulation because of the crazy, once again, final 5 minutes. But I mean, that game was flying under for a decent portion of it. I'm going to go with the under here. I see a low-scoring game. You are looking at, once again, the Lynx in game 1, who shot a very, very impressive, trying to pull it up here. They shot 40% from 3, 40.9, and the Liberty shot 39% from 3. That's not happening. I see a much better defensive game from the three-point line perspective, so I am going to go with the under. So, I'm assuming you like the under, too, because I think the Liberty are going to make it ugly, battle on the boards, and just make it physical. So
Yeah, I'm on the same way. Just, hey, you complete total defensive masterclass here. Like
I benedicted game 1 in the total, and I was right, so it wasn't a total loss.
Yeah. Huh. Woo. That was stressful, but you know it's not stressful. Betting on BetUS, best in the business. Betting with BetUS, easily deposit. That's what. Come on, there's no stress there. Easily deposit using cryptocurrency, lightning fast payouts. Absolutely no stress there. Then guess what? Sign up, deposit $100, and you can have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. How can you be stressed with a 1960 Ford Mustang? You can't. use our link, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus to get 3 deposit bonuses of 125%. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. BetUS. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, AI-powered sports betting platform. Hey, provides bettors a whole bunch of abilities to go and customize all these models, build these predictive betting models, and it really only takes seconds. You can really do it super duper quick. I like using Rhythm AI models because I've been cashing and I like whatever, makes me a little bit of extra money. And they have a whole bunch of picks in here. Like we give out maybe a pick, maybe two sometimes, not too many times too. We can't give away all the secrets, but we definitely give out a pick. But there's a bunch of picks that they love up here. There's so much bankroll for you to go in here and make. So go tap in with Rhythm. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM to get your 7-day free trial with Rhythm. All
Player
righty
prop time.
here. Yeah, let's get to it.
I don't see the rebounding stuff changing, by the way. I just assume John Quell and Brianna are going to combine for like 20 rebounds.
Yeah,
again.
man, I got to do it again because if I don't bet it, she's gonna hit. There's no reason to go away from it.
There's literally no reason to, because Minnesota won the game despite getting killed on the board. So I don't know why they would like change anything up. You know what I mean?
And it's just it's not even like
There's so much size. What are they supposed to do?
I was about to say it's not even change anything up. They really don't have an option. Like there's no option for them to stop them from rebound. I mean, I guess more Dorka, maybe,
but they won, so they're not going to change anything once again. Because offensively, they still shot 50 and 40. You're not going to bench your lineup that scored 90 plus points.
All right, still rolling with the rebounds for Stewie and Jonquil. Pretty easy play there. I mean, Sabrina still looked good, and that was a rather inefficient game for her. I'm not pulling away from this train. I think Sabrina Ionescu at home is going to be a problem, and now this is going to be the crazy big Sabrina killing it from 3. We got to fight, come back, and she starts feeding off the crowd. The crowd is going to be so into it because they know this is do or die. This series is over if they lose this game. Like it's completely over. It's not going to be, if the Liberty win a championship, it's going to be when the Lynx win a championship. Like the series is over if they lose this game. You don't come back from down 2 games to none, especially when you drop the first 2 at home. Like you have to win this. So I think that Sabrina's going to be the catalyst, and I'm rolling with it. I'm rolling with the MVP ticket. I'm about to get back down on 12-1. So yeah, 100%. I'm all over Sabrina Ionescu, over 2.5 threes, and I'm going to ladder them this time, Scott. I'm going to take the ladder.
Yeah, definitely don't mind that. You can let me know how high you want to go for the prices. But
yeah, wait. What's our options here? What's our options? How much are we talking?
Let me check what I could find on Sabrina threes. For Sabrina threes, her default line's 2.5 minus 135. 3.5's plus 194. 4.5 is plus 450. She had 3 in game 1 for reference.
5 sounds amazing, Scott. Let's go.
Okay. So I'm going to start off with John Quell because she showed up. We called her out because we think she might win MVP of the series. And she dominated. She had 24 points and she had 10 rebounds. So give me John Quell points and rebounds 23.5. That's it? 23.5? Really? She had more points than points and rebounds in game 1. Yeah, I'll take that. What kind of terrible line is this? Yeah, I got to take that. I mean, John Quell killed this team. And she was great in overtime. She had a 3, had a big steal there. She's one of the only players who actually showed up in crunch time for this game. So she missed a layup that was pretty makeable, but still, point is she played well down the stretch compared to the rest of her teammates at least. Give me John Quell. They can't match up against her, and that's why we picked her to win MVP. So give me another good game here. You don't really need much. Like she can walk into once again like 13 and 11. 14 and 10 you get there. Yeah, give me 23.5 PR on John Quell at minus 112.
Speaking of ladders, we kind of glanced over it, but I want to go back to it because the price that I see is incredible. Stewie has to atone for her sins.
That's the question. How does she respond after what happened in game 1?
If she decides to play a complete game to respond and completely dominate the glass, maybe she gets some offensive rebounds this game.
Mhm.
Scott, she had 9. I know we lost the prop, but she had 9. 12 is at plus 245. 15
It's
is
great price.
11 to 1. 11 to 1 for 15 rebounds. Scott, she's had 15 rebounds twice this season against this team.
And we think it's going to be an under game. So there's more rebounds to be had. So
I mean, am I reading something wrong here, Scott? How do we not hammer this? This is the ladder. This is also the ladder. Stewie, I gotta back Stewie one way. I'm gonna do it here. 17 and 18 in the 2 games prior.
honestly, my ladder was potentially going to be Jonquel points for this game because I think that line's pretty low. I don't want to say I'm buying all the way in on Jonquel, but her line's at 14.5 at plus 102. She had 24 in game 1. I can get 18 points at plus 235 and 20 points at 4 to 1.
Whew.
Really? 4 to 1?
Whew.
Like I know it went to overtime and she ended up scoring some in overtime, so in regulation she didn't get there, but 4 to 1. Like that just sounds like a good price to me. I don't mind a Jonquel points ladder here. I think it's a great spot. 18 points at 235. That's just a really good deal for me. I'll take that. Why wouldn't I take that? I don't think that the Lynx are a good I mean, I know they've guarded her well in the past in the regular season, but she came out in game 1 and said, I'm going to dominate the series. And I thought she set the tone. And I think that's going to be the case for the entire series. And if by any chance Breanna Stewart has herself another game where mentally she's still dealing with the collapse in game 1, maybe they lean into Jonquel more offensively. So yeah, I'll go with Jonquel, 18 and 20 points. Which I'm assuming you agree with based on price, because that price feels very, very generous.
Yeah, I do. All right. So, Scott, I'm going to take you down a vision that I have for the Minnesota Lynx.
Okay.
Because I do think that things are going to be a little bit more difficult. I don't think Kayla McBride and Courtney Williams are going to see things as easy, especially Courtney Williams, not from 3.
She's a dog, though.
This team is still really, really good at shooting the 3.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 ways to combat the bigs inside the paint. You gotta pull them to the outside. And if Napheesa Collier or Bridget Carlton are able to keep one of them outside the paint by just being a flamethrower from 3, that goes the way that they would like it to happen here. I'm looking at Napheesa Collier 2 plus 3s at plus 185, Scott.
Okay.
She's been working on it. We've seen it over the course of the season. Give me fee over 1.5 threes plus 185. Bridget, I can get 3 plus for plus 155 for 3 for Bridget, who's killed this team before in the past. 4 plus is plus 425. Absolutely, Scott. I'm buying in the 3s. I've chosen my players that I want to back them with. 2 players that didn't really do much. They were combined 1 for 4, the 2 of them in the first game. I think they step up in the second game. Give me Bridget Carlton and give me Napheesa Collier.
Yeah, believe it or not, even though it actually went to overtime, my under actually won. I'm going back to Lainey Hamilton. I'll go with the under again on points and assists. It was at 10.5. She had 9 in game 1. So she played 26 minutes. She's had played less than 27 minutes in each of the last 5 games. The issues are simple.
Like 5-minute spurts.
Yeah, she's banged up, and even if they blow them out, she's going to be the last person they bring in because she's clearly battling something. I'll go back to the under on Lainey Hamilton. That ended up winning, so I'll go back to that. Phoebich I do like in the series, so I don't mind Phoebich 3s again. That was a 1.5 at minus 110 in the first game, so I think that could be worth something. Looking at that number, her 3s are a 1.5 again. This time it's pretty juiced, though, so I don't know if I could actually take it. But if there is going to be one defensive adjustment the Liberty do make, I'm not sure they can actually stop some of the, I'd say, Collier, etc., but they can't let Kayla get that many wide open shots from 3. Kayla was wide open for a lot of the second half, and I feel like they got to make some adjustments there. Kayla's points and What are her points and rebounds at? Because she doesn't rebound the ball. I've covered this before. Her points and rebounds are at 16.5. I'll go with the under on that one. She had 24
I think
in the first game. She had 22 points, only 2 rebounds, but she played 42 minutes in change.
Mhm.
She made 4 of 7 threes. She was 6 of 11 from the floor. They left her wide open, which you just can't let happen. I'll go with the Kayla fade. I think they'll do a better job guarding her. Give me Kayla under 16.5 points and rebounds.
Yeah, I think the switch is take Phoebus off of Courtney Williams and let Phoebus guard Kayla McBride and then Benijah Laney Hamilton on Courtney Williams. And I'd love to see how Phoebus's length really just fucks up with Caleb McBride's shot. So I'm with you. I could buy myself into it under a Caleb McBride. I think that's the adjustment you for sure make. Like as good as clutch as Courtney Williams was in the second half of the game and in that fourth quarter, it was really Caleb McBride that was just slowly killing them over the course of the game. So
and I don't want to
definitely
disrespect Kayla because I recognize how good that Courtney and Collier are in their skill sets, but they can create their own shot and generate their own stuff. You can't leave Kayla as one of the best spot-up three-point shooters open that many times from 3. The defense was terrible from 3. That's one main adjustment they should be making. Contest more threes. Keep an eye on Kayla. Don't just... It's like leaving Klay Thompson back at his prime from 3. Like, what are you doing? There's nobody within 10 feet. Like, step up on her. I'll take the under. Because I think if Kayla's three's taken away, she won't be able to manufacture points because she doesn't get to the line that much. So I like the under on Kayla.
All right. Hurricane Helene was incredibly devastating, and we just want to continue to do our part. And just letting you know that SGPN is teaming up with the local charity mountainprojects.org to give back to Western North Carolina. Love, love, love the work that they are doing for that. And so, hey, we are helping to give back by offering the biggest donation. Whoever is donating the most, the biggest donation will get a guest spot on the college football pick show on the Sports Gambling Podcast, and they're going to give you a ton of SGPN gear. So go to mountainprojects.org. That's mountainprojects.org, and just support. Like anything, it doesn't matter. As much as you can give, it is appreciative. So thank you. All right, lock, dog, underdog. Let's see here. For my lock, I mean, they gotta come out right in that first quarter, right?
They have to. I really do like the first quarter angle. If the Liberty are going to do anything in the series, they have to come out for at least the first 10 minutes and show like they can definitely get back in the series. It's a lot of also just, I don't want to say symbolism, but you got to at least prove to yourself and Minnesota you're not going to roll over and die after game 1.
All right, Liberty, first quarter, laying 2. That's my lock. For my dog, we've given out a bunch of options with the ladder, Scott.
Mhm.
Dog, Stewie's splits on the rebounding are really insane. For 12 plus rebounds to be plus 245. You owe us. You owe us something, Stewie. You owe us. I know you're listening. You owe us something. 12 plus rebounds plus 245.
All right. So for my lock and dog, I think I'm actually going to stay with props here. I thought about doing John Quell. I really do like the points and rebounds, but I think I'm going to save that for an alt. Those point lines are too good. I'm going to go back to my play that's been working. I'll go back to the Laney Hamilton fade. I'll go with the under 10.5 points and assists. She's gone under in 6 straight. We know she's injured. She's played less than 27 minutes in 5 straight. So I think that it's a good spot for her to go under again. Gone under in back-to-back games against the Lynx as well. So give me Laney Hamilton under 10.5 points and assists. I actually see minus 122 as the best price. For my dog, I got to go John Quell points. I touched on it. I have to. The price is too good. I'm going to go with over 17.5 points, which is available at plus 235 on DraftKings. She had 24 in game 1. I can't really ignore that,
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, she has to. The only game that they won are the game when Jacquel Jones was playing really well. So she's got to play well.
I do really like points and rebounds 23.5 as my bonus lock, but I'm not going to do John Quell for both my lock and dog. I'd rather sacrifice that for the great price for the points. Take Laney Hamilton unders, which have been working, but I really do like that John Quell points and rebounds play too. Just to be clear.
All right. Do I have a parlay to give out? Let's parlay.
You going
Do we
back to
just
Sabrina 8-8?
do we just say both Jonquel and Stewie get a double, like get 10 rebounds? They both can come up with 10 rebounds here.
They were one away last game.
I already know. I already made her rebound. So we'll take Jonquel for 10 because for some reason that's even money. I don't know
Okay.
why that's the case. And then we can matter of fact, why don't I just go all in on your Jonquel Jones play?
I mean, those props seem way too low, don't they?
Yeah. That's ridiculous. You already gave out 18 though, so I'm not gonna do that. I want to give out the most plays. So I'm gonna go back to the threes. I do really like the threes look, and I like that angle of trying to pull JJ out of the painted area. And so Bridget's killed them before. She could easily be a thorn in my side again. Jonquel Jones, 10 plus rebounds. Bridget Carlton, 3+ 3-pointers made. That is plus 350.
Okay.
Nice little quick little parlay hitter. All right, let's get into underdog. Got to turn into the fantasy projections here. Let's see. Let's see. You've already played the. Do we want to? I mean, how do we not play Courtney Williams again in something?
Yeah, but the question is, what exactly do you want to play? Because we both think they're going to guard her better, but we know that she can't really be fully stopped, you know? So.
I mean, I like points and assists. I could talk myself
That's
into
fine.
that.
We can do that.
Yeah. It's 18.5. Like 11 points. No, I actually don't like that anymore. Let's not force that.
Okay.
Got a bunch of other plays. Sabrina. 0.91 for 2.2, or can I update it? Yeah, let's add a spicy 1.33 spicy, 3.5 higher on the 3-pointers made, 3.5. I think she's
Okay.
good for 4. She hit 3. I think she's good for 4. She's going to be a little bit more consistent, a little bit more dialed in. This is a must win.
All right. I
So,
can get behind that.
what else? We can play Kayla's lower.
You want to try it?
Where's the point? 16? Yeah, she's not going to rebound. And I think I really think they have to guard her well. Like, I think that if you look at that game, you really can't let Kayla McBride continue to kill you over the course of the game.
And I understand that she's a great shooter, but at some point you can't lose track of her. That's just basic stuff. That's one of the first things you cover in the scouting report.
Let me see. What's her game log against the Liberty like?
It's been up and down for the most part.
And
Kind
it
of
just
an
feels
alternating.
like that's always Kayla. I feel like we have a good read of after Kayla McBride has a good game, she typically has a downer.
It's nothing against her. She's a very good player. I just think
Yeah.
that if you can take away her space, she doesn't really have a backup plan when it comes to scoring. She's not going to attack the basket that much.
No,
She
does.
can, but I think she
But
mostly
the
prefers to
threes
shoot
is
threes.
really. So maybe do we just go ahead and hunt the threes? So no, let's just go with the points and rebounds. I like it.
All right.
Lower. She's not going to get the threes, and she's going to be very close to this number, but we're still going to win. Like, she's going to finish at like 13 or 14, but we're still going to win. I feel good about that because she's not going to rebound at all. 16.5 lower for Kayla McBride. And then, yeah, let's just throw Jonquel in the last one.
Sure.
Where's that points and rebounds?
A reminder, by the way, this game's on Sunday. It's not on Saturday. Just to be
yes,
clear.
it is. I might have said that. I don't know. Sorry.
Just throwing
There
it
we
out
go.
there.
All right. Kayla McBride, lower, 16.5 points and rebounds. Jonquel Jones, higher, 23.5 points and rebounds. Sabrina Ionescu, higher, 3.5 3-pointers made, 1.33x spicy. That's going to get you to 7.98x. $100 get you $798. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. I feel good about that. We get to sweat Sabrina for, yeah, I feel good about that.
All right.
Ooh. Who likes Nafisa Collier over 44 fantasy points? Yeah, I do. Especially the fact all the blocks really help you in the fantasy points.
What's
The
a
blocks and
fantasy?
steals.
What's a block? 4?
Yeah, I think it's like
Okay.
4. 4. I think a block and a steal are both 4.
Yeah,
So like,
sounds right.
all right. What else, Scott? Anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No, we're back again for game 3.
All right. He's at Reichel Radio. I'm at really real __. Make sure you give us a follow. Make sure you give us a follow at SGPN NBA on X. NBA season's coming back. Gonna have a lot of content churning through there. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe, youtube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast. All of that. All right. That's it. I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just got in like this. Man, Liberty really got to get this done. We're out of here.